Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine as you can see. Kisumu is also fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you're watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Kalonzo Musyoka is very angry. And Kalonzo Musyoka is angry and bitter because the High Court yesterday stopped the implementation of the NADCO report. This is how Kalonzo Musyoka expressed his anger through his official Twitter handle. This is what he posted. Yesterday's High Court order stopping the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report is state-sponsored. State-sponsored means it is the government who sponsored the guy who went to court to stop the NADCO report. And Kalonzo is proceeding. This is a deliberate scheme to go against what we agreed on at the Bomas of Kenya. And is concluding, the Kenya Kwanza regime has never had goodwill and faith. And this is the problem in Kenya. The politics of lies all the time. This state-sponsored court action must stop. Now, if you are to analyze this statement alone, you'll realize that state-sponsored has been mentioned 2 times. And Kalonzo Musyoka is very clear that Kenya Kwanza regime has never had goodwill and faith. And this is the problem with Kenya. For me, the statement by Kalonzo Musyoka is significant because Kalonzo Musyoka was one of the co-chair of the NADCO report. So in this video, I want us to figure out who could have sponsored that court case. Because remember, in politics, nothing happens out of their coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. That ruling by High Court means 2 main things. Number 1, the audit of the servers will no longer take place. In fact, one of the issues the petitioners raised in court was that auditing the servers was not going to change the Supreme Court ruling. So they didn't want it to happen. For Azimio, the auditing of the servers is the main thing in the NADCO report. And number 2, why Kalonzo Musyoka is probably angry is because by the fact that someone went to court and stopped the implementation, it means the office of the official opposition leader is not going to be created. Wherever Kalonzo Musyoka is seated, he believes that he's the one who was going to get that position. In fact, over the weekend, he was in somewhere, I think in Ukambani, and these were his words.
The effect of the NADCO report was now to make William Ruto enjoy the rest of his term. The fact that William Ruto is now properly in place as the president, I want to announce to you guys that we are properly in place as the official opposition. And therefore, we become government. So nobody should lie to you.
Do you think William Ruto's government is behind the individuals who went to court to stop the NADCO implementation? For me, I have a different theory. But let us go back a bit. The day Raila Odinga and William Ruto sat together, and Raila Odinga agreed to stop mandamanos or the demonstrations to allow for the NADCO or to allow for the bipartisan talks to take place. That was the day Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance lost the plot. I want to remind Kalonzo Musyoka that politics is about interest. As long as those interests are converging, politicians will always work together. And as long as they are not converging, they will betray each other. I don't know whether Raila Odinga will be on the same side with Kalonzo Musyoka. And I also know for sure that if the court ruled against the VVI, get it from me, it was expected that the same court were also going to rule against the NADCO report. But before we get into those details, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. Who do you think, in your view, who do you think could be behind the move to stop the implementation of the NADCO report? For me, I have different theories because I look at politics with a wider lens. Number one, in my view, is that Uhuru Kenyatta could actually be behind the move. Why Uhuru? Uhuru Kenyatta opposed the NADCO or the bipartisan talks from the onset, which means he was not happy about it. We all know that one of Uhuru Kenyatta's appointee to the NADCO team, Eugene Wamalwa, declined to append his signature on that report, which means Uhuru Kenyatta is totally against the NADCO report. There's nothing that can stop Uhuru Kenyatta from going to court to stop the implementation of the NADCO report. And that's going to serve his political interest. Remember, the day the NADCO report was submitted, there was an agreement that Azimio and Kenya Kwanza were going to escalate the drafting of some 9 bills in parliament. And those bills were supposed to, the time frame I think was 45 days. Yeah, so those bills, 9 bills were supposed to be drafted and then taken to parliament. There has been some delaying tactics until now. The courts have made a ruling. So for me, I don't want to rule out the possibility that Uhuru Kenyatta could be behind it. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua. Why do you think Rigathi Gachagua from nowhere started supporting the NADCO report? Why? And why would Rigathi Gachagua frustrate the implementation of the NADCO report? The truth of the matter is that that NADCO report was going to entrench the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. I think they were proposing to create the Prime Minister's office. Musalia Mudavadi was going to occupy, or is going to occupy, that office, which means Rigathi Gachagua was going to be under a lot of threat from Mudavadi. So to stop that, assume you are supporting the report, because Rigathi Gachagua never supported this report from the onset. Assume that you are now supporting the report, make everybody believe you are supporting the report, but to kunyuma, the dangerous cards you are playing, it's only known to you. That's number two. Number three could be William Ruto himself. And in my view, NADCO report is now right in the hands of William Ruto, because Raila Odinga is now focused on his bid of becoming the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. So for William Ruto, you may want the NADCO report to be implemented, but not the way Azimio wanted it. So strategically, he wants to delay the implementation. So this court process is going to delay, because we've seen William Ruto's strategy with the courts, where the courts make ruling against the government, blah, blah, blah. Then at the end of the day, in favor. So that could be a strategy to delay the implementation, so that it's going to take some time. Number two, there is no way William Ruto and his team were going to allow for the audit of the servers. No way. Because the question is, assuming the servers were audited today, and then the next day we are given the results, and from those results, what IBC announced are not the actual figures that Raila Odinga actually won, what do you think is going to happen? So William Ruto would not want a situation where that's going to be repeated again. So you want a situation where either those servers are not audited, or the status quo is just maintained like that. So for me, that's another possibility. And again, a good politician like William Ruto understands that NADCO report is now something which he can really use to bargain with Azimio. He will say, okay, it's not me, But then someone goes to court, then he pulls strings here and there, then agree with Azimio that for us to do this, this must happen. So I think NADCO report is a good arsenal for William Ruto. And of course, I also don't want to rule out the possibility of the civil society in the Republic of Kenya. That some individuals in the Republic of Kenya just genuinely felt that our constitution was being defiled. And then they went to court to stop the defilement. So for me, that's something which is also a possibility. That a group of Kenyans, patriotic Kenyans, just felt this NADCO report, if you allow it, it's going to see the light of the day. So the best way, court, stop it. And lastly, maybe the court just made their ruling, just like they made their ruling on the BBI, similar case with this particular issue. I don't know what you think. That's my take. But for me, Raila Odinga and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance made a very big mistake by engineering what they were calling the bipartisan talks. Those talks were not necessary. Raila Odinga just needed to say, okay, we've agreed to call off the demonstrations, let Ruto rule, let us be in the opposition. It was going to be a very smooth sell for them, so that Kenya Kwanza were going to be given the space to rule the way Kalonzo alleged in that video, and then probably Azimio will get the opportunity to provide checks on the government. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. I know some of you guys believe that Raila na Kalonzo or Azimio for that matter walichezwa. If you are in that WhatsApp group when you believe walichezwa, please let me know in the comment section. Bye bye.